Before entering the draft room, please make sure your internet browser and Flash software are up to date. Once your software is updated, you can enter the draft room by mousing over Draft Central and clicking the draft room link. If you enter the draft room before the draft has started, you will see a countdown timer to the start of the draft to the left and your draft order to the right. Below the timer, you will see options to turn on autopilot and to show taken players. By default, the player pool will be sorted by our experts' rankings. The default rankings are based on a combination of our projections and your scoring system. If you have created a customized rankings list, you can click the My Rank link to sort the player pool by your rankings. If you have not yet set a customized list but would like to do so, you can create your list by clicking the Customize Player Rankings link in Draft Central. Once the draft begins, the timer that previously counted down to the start of the draft will be replaced with the draft pick timer if your league chooses to use one. When making draft decisions, additional statistical data and search options can be found above and within the player pool queue. The Positions section will allow you to sort by all positions, top players available at each position, and also each individual position. There are also stats sorting options such as projections by our experts, 3-year averages, and the previous season. If you have selected projections, you can choose to see the CBS average of our experts or each expert's individual projections. Also, if you have downloaded any additional projection sources from App Central, you will be able to find those here as well. To advance through the list as currently ordered, scroll to the bottom of the player pool queue. You will find Navigate Player List. Click Next. Finally, the search tool will allow you to find any player in the pool directly by typing his name into the search field. If you are interested in drafting a player, clicking on their name will open a player bio window. Within this window, you can find the latest news on the player, game logs from last season, different fantasy trends, and player stats that are similar to what is found within the stats column of the draft room's player pool section. When you are ready to draft a player, click the Draft button located next to the player's name. Below the player pool, you will find the player queue. If you do not have any players in your player queue and the draft timer runs out, the top-ranked player in the player pool section will be drafted. If you have added players to your player queue, then the top-ranked player in the player queue will be drafted. Please note that any time the draft timer runs out before you make a selection, you will be placed on autopilot. If you are currently set to autopilot, your team logo will appear grayed out. You must click the Turn Off Autopilot link to disable this feature, otherwise the draft robot will continue to draft for you. Using the drag and drop method, you will be able to put players you are targeting into the player queue box. Use the mouse to select the player by clicking on the space next to the player name. You must click on the space to the right of the player name. If you click directly on the player name, the tile will not be selected. Once the tile has been selected, you will then be able to drag it down into the player queue. You can also add players to the queue by clicking their name to open the player profile window. From here, you will see a queue button. You could rearrange your queue by using the drag and drop method. Also located within the draft room is the draft results section. You can select to view the current draft results either by round or by team. If by round is selected, the drop-down window will allow you to view the latest results, all of the results, or results of a certain round. If you view by team, the drop window will allow you to select any team to see which players that team has drafted so far. You can find a quick overview of each team's roster by selecting the Roster Grid option. Below draft results, you will find the chat room. Within the chat room, you can communicate with the rest of your league during the draft. The Who's Online option will allow you to view who is currently in the draft room. Names listed in a blue hyperlink text can be contacted via private message simply by clicking their names. Any names displayed in an embedded gray text will be league members not present in the draft room. Finally, both the player queue and chat room can be minimized if you'd like more room for your player pool and draft results sections. To do this, simply click the down arrow in each box. This concludes our live draft room tutorial. In addition to this video, you can also find a draft room guide in Draft Central. This guide comes complete with both team owner